Hey everyone, I'm Tyler Edlin, and instead of doing my usual kind of art video, I just wanted to take a moment to slow down and do like a year-end review for my art things, my favorite things, and it just helps me, I think, be a little bit more transparent with you, the community, and whatever audience I have. It's been 2016 was a fantastic and exciting year. I took all kinds of new life steps and journeys, and I tried to grow artistically as much as I could and so I guess first what I'd like to do with this is talk about what I feel are my most successful images from this year. With the first one being this one. It's been unpublished. I haven't really published it yet, and I'm going to soon in early 2017. But I liked it. It's a fan art piece, recreating, redesigning one of my favorite video games, Skies of Arcadia, and it's a small project I'm going to continue to work on throughout the next few weeks or months. And that was it. This is going to show you I have folders and folders and lists upon all the work I do. Every year I make a new folder and just dump all the work into it. So yeah, I did have a lot of crapshoots. I feel like just some hits or misses. But there's a lot of misses or just a lot of work that I feel will be forgotten, certainly more easily. But my favorite works, that I feel that I feel a certain amount of satisfaction from are this one here, the Chains of Life, which I worked on and off all throughout the year. It was quite a process, and it was fun. It's one of the few kind of just raw type of fantasy illustration, no certain emphasis on stylization or characteristics. I just kind of just went with kind of like the flow and something I kind of had a vision for, which is something I don't do often. Another one that I really liked was the First of Us, which started out as a Dark Souls 3 fan art piece. And that, completely different, where I just started with a photo, and I was sitting down one day like, okay, where can I go from here? And then we ended up at this. But it was fun, and I was still learning how to integrate, some 3D people into my scenes and learning some shortcuts, as well as just using some raw kind of photo bashing, too, which I don't do enough of, or I want to do more of. But I like how it came out. It's a unique kind of piece. I feel it leaves a little bit open for interpretation on the viewer's behalf. But yeah, it's fun altogether. For some more of the stylized images, I had fun kind of exploring and kind of figuring out kind of mostly this one up here, which was a background scene for the game The Therian Saga, and I just kind of developed it. Being inspired by some of the old Disney artists and, of course, the Banner Saga, as well as a lot of people like to point out. And that's cool. I was inspired by them, and I don't hide that. But I like it. It's fun. It's fun to kind of work with really stylized shapes, compared to doing the higher-end, your realistic stuff. And then, of course, the things in the middle where, certain aesthetics are stylized versus, others are not. So, I don't know, it's always fun to just kind of try out new approaches and be letting out, more external influences come into my work and creep and shine through in the end. So the last piece for my top five that I wanted to share was this one from, I believe, really, really early in the year. I was just doing a gate scene in some kind of vast world, and there is on this one actually a really, really early sketch for that next scene, the original scene that I showed you earlier. So yeah, but I like this. It's fun. I feel it's a little unfinished in places, and maybe I'll go back someday and work on it. But yeah, for now it's finished. It's not perfect. Yeah, so those are my top five I feel most successful images. I have a couple honorable mentions. I tried out a lot of sci-fi stuff this year. I had a lot of fun doing that, and it's been fun. I think for me this year, a lot of it was stepping out of my comfort zone and just kind of getting things out there. And that kind of will lead me to my next little segment of topics I wanted to cover, which was a lot of my kind of personal accomplishments that I was able to kind of take care of and look back on this year. And the first one was that I did since about now, it's about a full year, I've been an instructor with the Computer Graphic Master Academy, or CGMA, and finally at the end of the year, I was up to teaching two courses, the Fundamentals of Design and the Fundamentals of Architecture Design, and I absolutely love it, and the people I work with are great, and I've met, I'm sure, many of you, through there, or, former students from the classes, but it's been a lot of fun, and it really kind of challenged me as an artist and as a creator and as a teacher to really get out there, try different things, and explore all kinds of different approaches, and really simplify and break things down and make them just so any kind of level can kind of pick it up and walk away with a certain level of confidence or understanding. That's usually my goal with the course content, and I'm going to keep revising that as we go forward. Some other notable things were my wife and I finally got a house. We had moved 5 times in the last 5 years to different apartments. I'm finally here in my own little space, and I absolutely love it. And as soon as I have it really set up, it's not set up, it's a complete mess, as you may see. I'm going to do official's kind of little studio tour type of video. I'm sure that'd just be fun. A lot of people do it, and I want to get in on that. But it's fun. The house was good. It did need a lot of renovating and updating. So a lot of our spare time a lot of our spare resources this year will be going into either tree removal, putting up fences, building a lawn. We don't have a lawn right now. Remodeling bathrooms. So it's quite exhausting work. But it's like this other feeling that I've never had before, where we can finally put money into something we own, and we're not just pissing it away on rent every month. That is another good thing. The other big thing we did at right about the time we did close on the house was we took our honeymoon finally and took a trip to the big island of Hawaii. And that is something I've never done any kind of trip like that before in my life. It was many time zones away from here, my home and my family. It was fun and kind of communicating them during our 2-week stay there. But with that trip came with so many new experiences for me, and I've made it obvious too, and I've mentioned it in various videos or tutorials I've put out, that I've been able to take certain memories or experiences from that trip and bring them back and put them right into my art, either various mindsets, things that I've saw or felt, or just observed in general, really kind of eye-opening experiences. And like Jake Parker says, another great YouTuber I like, it's putting information into your creative bank account. You always just can't be creating without making a deposit in terms of inspiration and just daily life. It's good to go out there and do things, and that's what a huge part of that trip was for me. Just trying as many new things as I could. I tried lots of new foods. One notable thing that we did, and I'll see if I can put a video clip up of what we were doing. We swam with manta rays at night. I have a big fear of the ocean in general. Not the ocean, but water at night. I don't like going in water where I can't kind of see below the surface. It wigs me out. Just one of those things. The thought of fish coming up and touching my leg when I can't see them freaks me out. So we're in this water, and it must be about 30 or 40 feet deep out in the water, out off the coast, and it's dark out. So you go in the water, you can't see anything except for where spotlights are looking in the water from the boats and the tour guides, and we're all getting in the water, and there's these manta rays. They got up to 15 to 20 feet in length, and they would come within inches of us, and I was freaking out the entire time. I had such an anxiety and panic attacks, all rolled into one, and of course I'm just trying to express all that wearing a diving mask and snorkel and everything. So, just hear me freaking out with, trying to breathe but I did it. I'm glad I did it. Very nerve-wracking, and it's just one of those one-of-a-kind experiences that I'll probably never do again. But it was really, really great. The other thing I did, I'm just going off a list here. I climbed a volcano. The Big Island is home to the only active volcanoes, I believe, on the island chain, and we were fortunate enough that there was an active lava flow kind of going. I learned real fast being in the Volcano National Park for 3 days that I have a bit of a sensitivity or a reaction to the sulfur in the air, and I spend just all evening, every evening, just heaving, I couldn't help it. It was terrible. My wife was perfectly fine, and she's usually the one that has all sorts of reactions to things, but it's I climbed a volcano. It's something I never really imagined or even saw myself doing. And I used to be terrified of them as a kid, watching those disaster movies and everything. But it was just crazy. We really got, within 50 feet of lava flow. We were getting any closer. People were getting really, really close, but it was like a 10-mile hike, and we were exhausted. So, like, yeah, good enough. And then we left. But yeah, this volcano, really cool, bigger than anything I've seen. I climbed the top of, what was it, Kilauea? I forget the name of it exactly. 14 point something thousand feet for those in the U.S., which is, it's quite taller than Mount Fuji. It's totally insane. Really, like, I think the highest, there's a chart somewhere I remember seeing, but it's absolutely breathtaking. And then we did a lot of cave exploring. We went in the lava tubes where the lava would go through the earth, and then you would leave them hollowed and dried out. We got to got full gear on and got to go exploring those and looked at all kinds of ancient minerals and rocks, and it was really just in depth. It's just things that we just never do. Me and my wife are fairly typical homebodies most of the time, so just getting out there and rolling all these experiences into one. Was just something I'll always have. And we made an awesome photo album, and it was so cool. We're meeting so many new wildlife, and we met a lot of residents. We were staying with people that were running lodges. I finally got to go to a tropical region. I've never really been to a tropical place before in my life, so it was quite awesome going into water, like ocean water, that was, crystal blue and was as warm as water you'd run a shower in. Like, just absolutely. When I usually go to the ocean, it's usually like 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which is just absolutely freezing. So it was nice. I think that was a lot of the more notable accomplishments I was able to do. What I fail at though this year, life is never perfect, and there is some areas I feel like I could improve on, or that I just outright failed at. I remember thinking of myself a year ago. I was like, it'd be great this year if I could work for Wizards of the Coast. I'd love to do a magic card or something. And that's what pushed, some of the art, like this one here, my Chains of Life image. I really wanted to just up my quality of some of my illustrations and everything. And I feel like that was really successful and everything. It just never happened. I didn't make it my top priority. It's just something I want, but nothing I actively just put on the top of my kind of command list where I should have. Well, let's look at it this way. If I really, really wanted that, like, it's my top priority thing, I would go to, like, every illustration convention, and I'd get my work in front of their face. Maybe I can do that this upcoming year. But that leads me to my next thing, is, like, I didn't get to attend any conventions this year, which is kind of a bummer. But, as I said, we were buying a house and putting money into the Hawaii trip, which it's enough to make you go broke. There was no money left over for trips this year to a convention, so maybe we could swing that this upcoming year, and I can get my work in front of some of the art directors. It sucks. I feel like it was really close. I was corresponding with one of the Wizards of the Coast art directors for the whole first half of the year. They said they had some work lined up for me, at the end of the year. Sure enough, stopped, getting emails back. What happened? Maybe they moved on. Maybe no one told me. Maybe the email's dead. I'll never know. But I felt like I had my foot half in the door, which is, I'll take it. I'll keep working at it. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Attending conventions failed. Working for Wizards failed. What'd I do? What did I write? I didn't do that much amount of personal work. I feel like a lot of the personal work I did this year were for demos. Demos for the classes that I did for CGMA and everything. Lots of demo stuff. And it's just things that were made mostly for instructional purposes, and it just kind of, I approach them a little bit differently than if I were to do a full-on kind of personal piece. So yeah, I'm hoping this year, 2017, I'll be able to do more personal work and get it out there. But yeah, more personal projects, more everything. Hopefully more Sunderfall. I could get back into fleshing that out. I think I failed at fleshing that out as much as I wanted to, really define where I want to go with that. Something I'm still kind of casually picking at. Maybe I can get it further this year. Okay, what else? Some goals for this year, I feel. I want to keep growing my audiences. I've been posting maybe every other day on Instagram. I'm still only about up to 1,300 followers on that. I'm not really sure what you have to do on Instagram to get a lot of followers, but I'm trying. Trying with YouTube, and almost up to just shy of 40,000, I believe, on YouTube. So thank you, everybody that's watching and sharing. And ArtStation, one of my lower follower base, 1,600. Nothing to brag about. Maybe it'll get there, maybe it won't. And I want to do more. I want to keep improving my figure drawing. I've been doing a lot more of that the last 3 months, and I want to continue to be able to push my character development so that it's as nice as my environment pieces. And I want to try to get back more into traditional drawing so I can have some physical pieces of art that when I can go to events and I can sell them, if that makes sense. And I want to launch more of my self-paced art courses. So my mentorship is filled. It's absolutely filled to May. If you want to join in, it's booked till May, and you need to let me know so far in advance. I want to be able to make my content available for at a cheaper price, obviously, for people to go through at their own pace. You'd have to tell me if that's something anyone would be interested in, but I feel it could be useful. So I want to kind of make my own self-paced art course and redesign a lot of my existing material so I can apply it towards that, and then obviously host it on a nice website and everything. That would be good. I've taken kind of like the first steps into that. Nothing I can really talk about much for now, but I think that would be great. Just expanding my business. Nothing wrong with that. And the other thing I want to do this year is read a lot more books. I didn't read that many books this year. So many distractions after distraction. And I really want to focus on improving that part of my life this upcoming year. And so one last tidbit before I go. I just wanted to name some of my favorite movies and some of my favorite video games I did play this year, since I didn't have any notable books. When I do this again next year, I'll include my books on the list. But since I didn't read anything, I read some of Nausicaa, always picking up, and I love it every time. The Nausicaa from Hayao Miyazaki's graphic novel, which is like 8 or 9 volumes. It's massive. I bought a bunch, and I'm probably halfway through that epic saga. So that's what I get from my notable books. Now, my favorite movies this year were The Civil War, Captain America, Part 3 there. Really awesome, super fun. They did so many characters, and I think they pulled it off well. My other favorite movie was Nice Guys, with Russell Crowe and what's his name there from Drive? I can't think of him. The handsome fella. Brain fart, I'm sorry. Obviously Moana from Disney. I love that. Ryan Gosling, by the way, from Nice Guys. There. Thought of it. Was Moana, the animated film. I saw that about 2 weeks ago. Absolutely loved it. So much fun. And it really took me back to my Hawaii trip, so maybe I'm a little biased about that. And Rogue One, which came out very recently as well as of this, and really enjoyed that. I really didn't have any too many beefs with that. I really did. Went in and saw it really open-minded, and I liked it a lot. Now, my favorite video games from this year was finally the long-awaited Final Fantasy 15. Well, it is far from perfect. I'll be the first one to tell you that. The second half of the game is very, very unfinished. But on an enjoyment level, my enjoyment level for the whole game was very, very high. I enjoyed the Kingsglaive movie, the Brotherhood anime companion that went with it. Loved it all. The characters, which I was the most skeptical about. How am I going to like this little Japanese emo boy band type of crew? But they weren't really like that at all, and they were super enjoyable. I absolutely adored it. Really emotional. It was such an impactful game, I feel, for being as unfinished as it was. I also liked Dark Souls 3. Played the heck out of that earlier in the year. It was a lot of fun. It took the best of Bloodborne and Dark Souls 1, kind of mishmashed it into once, and awesome, polished, really fun and engaging product. My favorite shooter and competitive multiplayer I like to play was Battlefield 1. Absolutely love it. I love the authenticity that you get in the Battlefield. Not necessarily with the period accurateness of it, but just how everything kind of feels. Like it really kind of, the sound effects, the weather effects, everything it makes me feel so immersed in that. When I get on there with my squad, it's just like raising hell. It's just so engaging for me. I absolutely find it so much fun doing those 64-player battles, getting in at vehicles, airplanes. I couldn't ask for anything more in a shooter. And another game I really enjoyed this year that I played a lot of throughout the whole year, because there was 2 parts to it on the PlayStation Vita and PlayStation 3, was this little RPG series called Trails of Cold Steel. If you're into Japanese RPG games, I definitely recommend those 2. So with that said, that's really wrapping this up. Time to set some new goals for this upcoming year. How about you guys? How was your year? Did you meet all your goals and what you set out to do? Do you have a lot more work to do next year? Did you have a good year? Did you enjoy a lot of things? Let me know. Put it down in the comments.